What's going on, everyone? Welcome on to Arsenal Fan TV. And although it wasn't the most convincing of performances from Arsenal today, all that matters is that we were coming out of this game with 3 points at the end of it. And given how previous opening day fixtures have gone for us, drawing away at St James's Park, drawing at home to Sunderland, losing 3-1 on the opening day to Aston Villa, it was so important that we managed to win today. And we did that, like I said, not in convincing style, but this was always going to be an incredibly weird game, considering that Palace were going into it without Tony Pulis. Now, quickly brushing over that, they got rid of Pulis a couple of days before this match, and in all honesty, I do feel a bit sorry for the guy that had to come in for Palace. His first task having to reroute the whole Crystal Palace team to a game against Arsenal without their star man in Tony Pulis. And I think it's really ridiculous that Palace haven't managed to reach an agreement with Pulis, considering he was kind of the whole reason that they got where they were last season. He was absolutely brilliant for them last season. They should have been on their hands and knees begging him to stay. And I think it's going to be really difficult for them to stay up without Pulis this season. But that's not what was important for today. What was important was that Arsenal went out there and got the 3 points. And looking at the Arsenal lineup, it was an identical one to that started against Man City in the Community Shield last weekend. I was a bit surprised to see the addition of Yaya Sanogo in the team. Maybe he was, Wenger was trying to continue his form from the Community Shield. I thought he showed a bit glimpses of brilliance. Well, I say brilliance, he was alright in the game, he did nothing really immaculate. He is really good at going through defenders, he does do bits of skill at times, but he is the most clumsiest player I have seen in an Arsenal shirt for a good long while. He doesn't look composed in front of goal whatsoever, but he does offer something different, and he does try his very best every single game, so you've got to credit him for that. And he was probably rightly substituted for Olivier Giroud in the later stages of the second half. Arsenal started the game relatively well. We looked alright on the ball, we looked incredibly comfortable. Palace was set up so blatantly not to concede. It was like their caretaker had literally just said to them, go out there, play the way Pulis has told you to play, and just don't concede. Sit back, and if we can, get a lucky goal. That's exactly what Palace did, in fact. We were dominating the game, we looked really good on the ball, but we weren't taking our chances. We had corner after corner after corner, and absolutely nothing was coming of them. And this has been massively frustrating for me over the past couple of seasons, that we don't do a single thing from set pieces. I say that, but we did score later on in the game from a set piece. So it might be a bit hypocritical, but we are getting better from set pieces. Let me just address that. We are certainly getting better from set pieces, but our corners today just were absolutely abysmal, from Cazorla especially. From Sanchez and Chamberlain, they were an awful lot better, but from Cazorla, they weren't even beating the first man, and that was just pitiful. Regarding Cazorla, I don't think he had the best of games today. I think it was probably one of his lesser performances in an Arsenal shirt, but he has played quite a few games for us recently, so I'm not going to lay into anyone. It was always going to be a difficult game for us. We were integrating a lot of new players into the side. Chambers, Debuchy and Sanchez. I thought they all played relatively well. I thought our right hand side at times did look a bit lacklustre. Debuchy linking up with Chamberlain especially, an awful lot of wayward passes there. There were a lot of times throughout the whole game where we were just giving the ball away, and that's something that I've seen from Arsenal teams in previous seasons, but I think it was just a bit of match day nerves, first day nerves really. I don't expect that to continue from Arsenal. And it was a bit of a fragile midfield, and we were setting up in that 4-1-4-1 formation that I discussed in the preview. Really good to see that. We saw Arteta deployed as a CDM. Thought he did an alright job today, no need to criticise Arteta. Wilshere and Ramsey, I thought they did really well in front of him, and then we saw Cazorla deployed on the left, Sanchez on the right with Sanogo in front of him. That's a formation that is really enjoyable to watch. It's good at penetrating teams. Wasn't so great at breaking down Palace today, but like I said, they were playing an extremely refined style of football, just not to concede. We were punished in the 35th minute for a Breda Hangeland header. Probably the tallest guy on the pitch. It was really hard to mark him, but we probably should have done a better job of it in hindsight. And it's so typical. We had about 3 or 4 corners preceding their goal. They had one chance. I don't even know if they'd had a shot on target before this, and it was in the back of the net. It was a bit harsh on us, but at the same time, maybe we deserved it for not taking our chances, but I was really impressed with how Arsenal responded to the goal. There was an awful lot more flair and intensity, especially from players such as Sanchez and Ramsey. We looked a lot better going forward. We did get a goal in the on the stroke of half time, should I say, through Laurent Koscielny. Excellent delivery from Sanchez from a free kick. Lovely looped ball over the whole of Crystal Palace's defence, Koscielny in the right place at the right time. Excellent header from him. Glad to see him scoring. I thought him and Chambers especially, just quickly brushing over Chambers, he was immense today. For a 19-year-old, a guy that's 1 year older than me, it's crazy to see him out there on the pitch, playing at such a high level. Absolutely outstanding today. Mertesacker going to have his work cut out for him getting back into that team. And we're going to, he could be, I don't want to speak too soon, but he could potentially be that Tony Adams kind of figure that we have been missing for so many years. It's great to have a rock at the back like him, and it's good to have all these options, especially when our German players are back into the side. Going into the second half, we did see Kieran Gibbs go off fairly early on. I think he's done something to his hamstring or his Achilles. Yeah, either way, that's really bad news. I hope he recovers soon. But we did see Monreal come on, and I thought he actually played pretty well, which is a positive, but it's really a question of whether he can continue that form, because we have seen him have the odd good game in the past, and then he hasn't replicated it in games surpassing that. Anyway, the second half continued. We looked so much more energetic, we looked so much more lively, but Palace weren't threatening against us. The likes of Balassi, though, he was someone on the counter-attack who I thought was really dangerous every time, just powering through our right-back position. Debuchy, I thought he was alright. Today, I thought he had a good game. He does look very solid. I think he's an extremely similar player to Sagna. Certainly haven't downgraded there. In fact, I said in that game against Man City last weekend that we've upgraded from Sagna. I still stand by that. I thought Debuchy wasn't at his best today. Naturally, he might be a bit tired from games preceding this one. Anyway, the second half continued, and it did appear to be a little bit lethargic. We were kind of trying the same things over and over again. We were definitely the team on top of the game, bossing it out, but we just couldn't find the back of the net, which was massively frustrating, because I didn't want us to be ending this game 1-1 with 1 point. You know, it would have been an okay way to start the season. You know, saying that, no, it wouldn't have been an okay way to start the season. We had to get 3 points in this one. We've got some difficult games coming up. We've got an away trip to Everton and an away trip to Leicester. It was really important that we actually won the first game of the season. It would have been 5 years in a row if we hadn't won today. But thankfully, man of the moment, Aaron Ramsey, it just had to be him. He didn't actually have the best of games today, but it just had to be him that scored this goal. A really weird goal, actually. I think it was a Sanchez cross, and then Koscielny headed it back into the box. Giroud across the face of goal. Debuchy volleyed it, hit Speroni, bounced back out to Ramsey, and then it ended up in the back of the net. I think that's how it all panned out, but the relief when that went in, couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe we'd actually broken through that Palace defence, who were incredibly resilient today. Regarding the referee as well, quickly before I talk about the Ramsey goal, he was abysmal today. The refereeing was absolutely awful. We should have had a couple of penalty appeals when players such as Ramsey were blocked off early on in the game. I just thought the referee was absolute dross today. I don't really blame the referee for the performance today, but certainly at times it didn't look good, and he sent off punching towards the later stages of the game. Definitely deserved, but maybe should have been making decisions like that earlier on in the game. And I hate this rule. Not a rule, it's ridiculous in fact. Pundits say it all the time. He's not going to send off or give away a penalty because it's early on in the game. It's ridiculous. I don't understand that whatsoever. If it's a foul, it's a foul. It should be a sending off. It should be a yellow card. It should be a penalty. Whatever time it is in the game. It's a ridiculous thing to say. And I can't believe how many referees are actually going along with that kind of thing. It's beyond a joke, to be honest. But what was important was that Ramsey scored that goal. We got the 3 points, and we're actually top of the league. And it doesn't really mean much at the moment, but it's a really good confidence boost going into that game against Besiktas on Tuesday night, which is going to be a really interesting game. Really looking forward to that one. Check out my preview for that. And then, of course, we've got Everton next week. That's a game I'm really looking forward to, and hopefully we'll have our German players back for that one. Anyway, those have been my thoughts on today's game against Crystal Palace. Hopefully we'll be seeing a couple more convincing performances from Arsenal in the coming weeks. Certainly more convincing than today's. But this is a great way to start the season. Let's build on this. Let's get some momentum going within the team. When we've got our German players back and Walcott, we are going to be some force to be reckoned with. United lost today, so that's another massive positive. Unfortunately, Tottenham managed to grab a late one over Upton Park. So, yeah, you know, we're in good stead at the moment. It's a good way to start the season. Anyway, if you have enjoyed the video, please give it a like rating. Subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV, as well as my own channel, AFC Game by Game. As always, thank you very much for watching, guys.